with that, I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Thanks very much. I'm Amanda and I'm an addict.
Hi, Amanda.
Thanks for asking me to share. And I haven't been to this meeting before. My home group's actually on a Sunday at 6:30 in Chelmsford, so I usually go there, so it's quite nice to come here. I don't have a commitment there anymore, but my commitment is to turn up. It's important to me. I actually started that meeting. We'd say to P, it was so hard weekends when I was new, pacing the floor, the days were so long, it was so boring and drove me nuts. And I kept saying, should we start a meeting? And it was talked about, and then me and Penny just done it. Just do it. You know, if there's two of you, then just do it. You know, and and it's still going now, which is lovely. And I think step 8 is one of the hardest steps to share on. When I first saw that step, I thought, that's a bit ridiculous. You know, it's a bit much. It's like, and then when it gets read out, it's like, what? Got to do what? You know, and then when they start listing all the people you've possibly harmed, you know, it's like, I may as well, I just want to crawl in a hole now. I found it quite difficult to accept that I'd done harm, really, because I was too focused on the harm that had done to me, and they deserved it. You know, they hurt me, so I hurt them. I must say, I don't think like that very often anymore. And so through the process of, you know, having a look at my step 4, it was like, oh my God, it's me. I was so shocked. I was really shocked that it was me. It's like, because I'm writing about them and them and them and them and them. And then it's like, oh, it's you. But the good thing about that is I can't do anything about them, because I've tried. Manipulating, controlling, shaming, all of that stuff that came up in my character defects. And I had to surrender to it all. It's like, I can't change anyone. And all I can do is change myself. But I did feel, once I'd uncovered it all, I mean, there was the obvious amends, you know, like to my family and my children and that barmaid. I always felt bad about this barmaid who I threw a beer over. She told me to drink up, and I've got 3 lined up. Maybe you should drink them and go home, you know. And I'll tell you what, this one's for me and that one's for you, and I threw it over her. What? Oh, this is why I don't drink. And I kept seeing her everywhere, and I felt so much shame and so much guilt. And this other thing happened. It's like, I was twisted. So I smashed a few windows when I was using. I'd have a drink, and I'd think, and go and smash your windows, or do your tyres. That's the sort of person I was, because you deserved it, because, you know, I am the punisher. Yeah, I'm not like that anymore. And I smashed this woman's window. Really, I was just drunk. And then there's a Just for Today reading about smashing windows. I don't know if you've read it. So I'm reading it, laughing to myself. The next day, I went to a meeting. She was sat in it. I just wanted the world to swallow me up. You know, so it was clear and obvious I could not avoid these feelings, and I couldn't laugh them off anymore either. You know, once I got clean. It was like, you know, we're not responsible for our using. Oh, well, that's good then. But I am responsible. I'm accountable. That's the difference. And I'm responsible for my recovery. So I was holding myself to account for this, for these harms. And a lot of it really was because I wanted my kids to forgive me. That was my motivation, selfish to the core. And I thought, well, if I can't forgive my parents, how can I expect my kids to forgive me? But I actually looked in, you know, they were at the top of the list, the family, and I looked into my mum and dad's history. And my mum, I feel quite sad, it's Father's Day today as well, you know, and they're both dead. But I did make amends to them. So I've looked into my mum's history, and her mother was put in the workhouse for child abuse, and I've got the cutting at home, What sort of life did she have? She did not have the skills to be a parent. She really didn't. And then she went from husband to husband to husband, and then sort of abandoned all us kids. So I didn't like her, basically, when I got to recovery. I really didn't like her. I remember when I was using and I was sitting on the arm of the chair nodding off. And like, what's the matter with you? Nothing, just tired. And I remember one day she said to me, what have I done to make you hate me so much? And I thought, why is she saying that? I didn't even realise how horrible I was to my mum. I didn't realise how I was robbing her of her peace, and I obviously must have said some horrible things to her. And I always think of that, you know, when I think about her upbringing. She was dragged up, basically. She didn't have anything, you know. I said to her, what did you eat when you were little, Mum? And she said, well, water and vegetables. You know, that's all they had. And she was hungry all the time and dirty, and the kids at school used to take the piss out of her. And I'm really glad that I was able to have those sorts of conversations with her before she died, and find out who she was and how she was affected by all that stuff. And that enabled me to forgive her, because I have not been a good parent. I have been a good parent, but a lot of the time I haven't, you know, especially when I was using, and I did not understand how I'm good at cooking, cleaning, finances, you know, I'm good at all the practical stuff, but I didn't realise how I was emotionally abusing my kids, you know, like not being there, like reading half a story, wanting them to go to bed because I wanted to get on it. But I waited till they was in bed, so that's all right, isn't it? No, it's not, because I was rattling in the morning. And seeing all that wasn't very nice. A couple of days ago, my boy had been up all night, and he's gone. And I'm coming out of the toilet, and he wants to go to the toilet. He's gone, move, like that. And I'm like, oh. Because I heard my mum come out of his mouth. I heard myself come out of his mouth, and it really wasn't nice being on the receiving end of that. I don't talk to him like that anymore, but I did. I know I did. And I was able to say to him, you know, I do realise I used to speak to you like that, but I don't do it anymore. Can we maybe just both try a bit harder? And yeah, so it's like having all these little light bulb moments. And so I wrote my list. And it was like, oh my God. And where it says there, everyone you ever come in contact with. It's like, oh, let's lump them all together. You know. The shops I stole from, but they're big, all like what was it called? Woolworths. They're a big organisation. They can afford it. You know, I had all these justifications, and I loved shoplifting. I loved it. I got such a buzz. I only got caught when I was drunk, but and that time when I wore a bright green suit, like, and a fucking red thing in the hair. It's like, I've been waiting here for you for an hour, she said, the bloody woman. And what? It was him. I tried to blame someone else, you know. But that's what I did. I told him I can't help it. I'm a compulsive thief. I can't help it. I've got a disorder. And yeah, and when I read it, I was in the courtroom, and they've left my paperwork, and I read it. And they said, she's a compulsive and very convincing liar. I thought, what compliment. Oh, look at me, I should be on the stage. You know, so, like, the absolute dishonesty, you know, and the denial and being dishonest with myself, you know. It's just about putting yourself at the bottom of the list, but, you know, I've made my amends now, you know, and I'm pretty near the top nowadays, and because I just absolutely hated myself when I got here. I blamed myself for everything. I could not get that step one. How can I be powerless? I'm just a terrible person. Who could put drugs before their children? You know, who could have done all those horrible things? Yeah, you did it. And so I was so full of self-loathing, I weren't going on that list. There's no way. I had to clear some room before I could put myself on that list. And becoming willing was like having compassion for myself and other people, having that compassion without making excuses, because I'm really good at making excuses for people. Haven't they had a hard life? But I've got to be careful with that one, because I can start putting up with unacceptable behaviour and having some boundaries, and so having some compassion and understanding for other people that were on the list, and stuff that happened, when you're a kid you're not responsible for. I mean, you're a bloody kid, and it's like, I had to look at that one because it worked in court. People would feel sorry for me, and I could use that. It was like, get what I want. So being willing sort of to let go of all that behaviour was quite difficult, because what if I don't get what I want anymore, and that's not necessarily the case. I quite often, do get a lot of stuff that I want, and I get a lot of stuff that I need, and stuff that I don't need, then I don't get. And getting back to being willing, that's like the people at school, they were, children are nasty, they're horrible, and they were horrible to my mum, they was horrible to me. My dad tried to kill my mum, and they used to sing, "Your dad's a nutter" on the bus, and that wasn't very nice, I can tell you. And then this other bloke, Christopher Harris, still remember his name, he started saying things alike, and then they forget about me, and they started saying to his sister, "Come on baby, light my fire." So we move on, don't we? We move on. And, somebody else's turn the week after. Children are horrible, aren't they? And it's like, I've got to look at myself and how I hold on to that and how I carry it around with me. So it was like becoming a grown-up. And, so being willing was like the shame of seeing that woman in the bloody meeting whose window, wanting to be forgiven by other people. And really, I was scuttling around. I didn't want to do that. I watch people, and I notice, and it's like I'm sitting here judging everyone when I was new. It's like, you know yourself really well. You've done your step 4, because it was actually the case. You seem really comfortable with yourself. You've done your step 9, and I wanted that. I wanted to know who I was, and I wanted to feel comfortable in my own skin, because I was squirming and felt so bloody uncomfortable. And seeing all these people like talking about smashing windows and stuff like that without, anyone calling the police or anything. It's like I wanted that. So that was another motivation, selfish again, but it's whatever gets you through, isn't it? It's whatever gets you done. And seeing people have that freedom gave me the willingness, becoming willing. I didn't want to feel the shame or the guilt. I wanted to feel all right, just all right. And and that bloody woman, I saw her everywhere, the bar woman, everywhere. It's like in the post office. And then she's over the road, and I'm like, go over. I couldn't, I was paralysed. And I said to my sponsor, I saw her again. Why didn't you? She said, if you don't go and make that amends, you go back to step 1. So, And I'll just tell you, I know we're not on step 9, but I will tell you what happened there. I went and I said to her, I really regret throwing that beer over you. I wasn't in my right mind, and I don't do that sort of thing anymore. She's going, surprised you even remember. And that woman whose window I smashed, I went and made amends to her. And she said, I forgave you a long time ago, now you go away and forgive yourself. And that's exactly what I had to do, was to forgive myself. And a lot of the inspiration comes from seeing other people do it. It's like, you did what? I haven't always had a good reception, but it's about having that willingness to do it and having that freedom, seeing the freedom in other people, and seeing the freedom they've got within themselves. So that's a motivating factor of willingness for me. And I didn't want to relapse either. No. So, all right then. And yeah, so I hope that was helpful to someone. Thanks for asking me to share.
Thanks, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda.